Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Cicero regular town board meeting, Wednesday, September 14th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. If you would please silence your cell phones at this time. And if there's an emergency, there are 2 exits in the rear of the room and 1 in the front. We'll stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing so we can remember Queen Elizabeth II and those who were dedicated their lives at the 9/11, lost their lives. Thank you. I want to apologize. The last meeting, I was not here, the regular town board meeting. I was sick with COVID and I was sorry that I couldn't be here. And there was a correction on the meeting for the special board meeting. I believe it was September 7th at 5 p.m. I just want to make that correction. If you want to start, Counselor White.
We have public input.
Public input tonight. There's 3 minutes. If you would like to speak on behalf of any of the agenda items that are up here, is anybody here who wants to speak on these agenda items prior to the meeting or after? We're going to have one as well as after, but you're more than welcome to speak on behalf of it in the beginning. And you'll have 3 minutes. Please state your name and your address. Can you grab the mic, please? Thank you. Push the button.
I'm the Senior Vice President for Research Policy and Planning at Center State CEO, and we're located at 115 West Fayette Street in Syracuse, New York. I'm speaking tonight in support of the item on the agenda, which involves the proposed Metro North project that is proposed by the United Group of Companies. And we came here to support this project. As you might, I'm sure you're well aware, Center State CEO is working with the county executive, Senator Schumer, Governor Hochul, to locate a semiconductor manufacturing plant in White Plains in the town of Clay. And you recall that there's been a couple of good things that have happened around that. The state passed the Green Chips Act, which provided incentives for a location in New York State. And that was followed up by the passage of the Federal Chips Act, which provides a significant incentive for semiconductor manufacturing to be done in the United States rather than overseas. And in order to take advantage of that act, semiconductor manufacturers have to designate exactly where they're going to go in the United States in order to get in line for the benefits under that act. Now, I'm operating under a non-disclosure agreement. I'm not going to mention the name of the company. I can't talk about the details. I'm sorry, but I'm sure you may know quite a bit about it. But one of the things I can tell you is that the company, one of the concerns they expressed to us was, can you build housing fast enough to house the people that we will hire here and we will bring here? And when they're talking about their initial employment, those numbers run from about 4,000 when they start to probably up to about 8,000 in just a few years, as fast as they can build fabrication plants. And just to put that in some perspective, Lockheed Martin at Electronics Park is 1,700 people. So this is going to become overnight the largest manufacturing employer in Onondaga County if we can convince them to locate here. They expect to ultimately require upwards of 10,000 units of housing. And we have to build it as fast as they're going to move. So it's not needed all at once. Anything that size is going to take time, but we do need to get started because we have to show them that we can produce the housing that they're looking for. So we are tracking major housing projects all over the county, not just in the town of Cicero. We will be testifying, try to support them all and ask the different towns and villages, the city to take some responsibility and help us build that housing. And this is important to us because this particular project being designed the way it is an efficient use of the land. One of the things we don't want to lose in that growth is we don't want to lose our open space. We don't want to lose our farmland. So we want to see things that are concentrated and are close to commercial development. So I'll just close by telling you, as long as I've worked in this county, I've heard from parents who are saddened by their kids leaving home and always asking me, why can't we have the jobs like they have in Boston or Austin or the Research Triangle or Silicon Valley? This is the time when we can finally do that. But we do have to meet the requirements of that company, and one of the most important ones is housing. So I'll be back to ask you to support this project as this goes along. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone else wanting to speak? I think you got to turn the mic on. Make sure it's on green. Nope, you gotta make sure it's on green. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Name and address, please.
Tim Murphy, Knoll Road. I have a presentation here with multiple signatures, so you don't really have to answer it now, but I'll just read through it for you. Number one, have never seen a zone change to PUD. Is this common and why? Number two, is there more code protection to the planning board expertise? Number three, under the PUD, what will the setbacks be between residents and borders? Number four, with a possible development, a precedent of adequate buffering should be set up to protect long-term residents from a 3-4-story apartment building. This is also dealing with what he was dealing with, CEO from, this is number 6 on the agenda. Will this proposed development connect to Walmart? The possibility of interconnecting intercirculation frontage roads for future phases of construction not yet publicly introduced. Should these be made available to the neighbors north and south of the area? Are there such paper roads in the planning phase? Knoll Road is the north housing development from Walmart, so we're going to be impacted by this. Number 7, multiple point access points to Route 11, increased traffic density, will only perpetuate the problems with the bottlenecks of 31 and 81, 31 and 11, Bear Road and Route 11, and in the White Plains Comment Park. The commuter traffic will increase dramatically. Number 8, with the interconnecting roads going from residential to commercial, how will the town protect existing residents from the fact that commercial and residential do not mix well? Walmart has tormented the neighborhoods both north and south of the store with leaf blowers in the middle of the night, snow removal, backup vehicles, criminal activity, and much more. Will town be able to protect the residents more or less with the PUD zoning? A lot of this has to do with PUD zoning. 9, will the increased traffic further reduce emergency vehicle accessibility, endangering citizen safety with traffic lights too close, inadequate queuing, car stacking ability, a lack of crosswalks and connected sidewalks? Number 10, the 1999 Mud Creek drainage study said that this area drains 220 acres on the east side of Route 81, and increased traffic surface runoff could compound the problems of flooding across Route 11 at Sacred Heart Church. Has the Corps of Engineers waiting on this project? It's a core wetland. Who pays the interconnecting road construction? If it's not to be a town mode, we all pay for the maintenance and snow removal. Number 12, has the Cicero North Syracuse Central School District weighed in on all the apartments in the townhomes? Please be fair to the existing residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If no one else would like to speak in the beginning, we'll move on to number 3.
Approval of abstracts. Move for the adoption of a resolution approving abstract numbers 33 dated 8/16/22 and number 34 dated 8/22/22.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain? Passed.
Budget modifications. The Cicero Town Board approves. The budget modifications are approved as presented.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain? Passed. We will go into a brief executive session. Move for the adoption of a resolution to enter into executive session related to a matter dealing with the consultant contractual agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We would also like to have our attorney in the room as well.
I like doing that.
Ready?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I have everyone's attention. We're back from executive session.
Yeah, well, the executive session ended at 6:45. Motion to adjourn executive session made by Councilor Bacala, seconded by me. And I'll make a motion to reconvene. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move the adoption of a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the town of Cicero and the town of Cicero Police Benevolent Association relating to the provision of services as safety coordinator by a member of that organization. This resolution approves the memorandum of understanding and also authorizes the supervisor to execute the same.
Second.
Discussion?
You want me to explain it? Sure. Okay. So we had a safety consultant from Haler Fire and Coon that we were previously paying to run the safety committee and the meetings. We have since terminated that part of our agreement with Haler Fire and Coon, although we do have other services through them, including someone available on an as needed basis at an hourly rate. Lieutenant Myers from the police department has been running those meetings since January. He's doing an excellent job. However, because he is a police department employee and because the collective bargaining agreement between the PBA and the town does not address payment for these services, this memorandum of understanding is necessary as sort of an amendment to the collective bargaining agreement. The money we're paying, $5,000 a year, is well worth it. I mean, that's $5,000 for a year. And I think we paid previously for that position,
$32,400.
was how much was budgeted, but for how much did we pay prior to him leaving?
Already
us?
paid out 33,780.
3,007, not 30,000, right?
No, 3,700.
Right. So I mean, and he only provided that service for how long this
2
year?
months.
2 months. So this is obviously a bargain. This Lieutenant Myers has already been running these meetings and doing an excellent job. I do consider him to be a subject matter expert. So this is something that's beneficial to the town employees and also to the taxpayers.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain? Pass. I'll have the gentleman from Metro North come up and give their presentation. I'd ask that you have 15 minutes to do so.
Good evening. For the record, I am Tim Haskins. I am the Senior Director of Project Development for United Group of Companies in Troy, New York. We're the developer, owner, proposed owner on this project. I'm excited to be here. We've been here working with the town of Cicero for quite some time on this project, and I'm glad we're finally at this final town board step. Just a little background I want to give on the project for everybody, just to kind of set the stage. We became aware of this parcel of land on US 11 back in April of 2019. And the reason we were approached was because the owner of the property thought it would be a good site for senior housing, and we're a nationally award-winning senior housing developer. And a mutual friend of the owner recommended he approach us to see if we would be interested in the parcel, or a portion of the parcel, actually. So we looked at it, and when we looked at it, we analyzed the needs and the potential in the town of Cicero. We saw that there was not only a need for the 150 to 180 units of senior housing that we typically do, but there was also a need for newer Class A multifamily housing in the market as well. So rather than parcel off and just try and buy a piece of this property, we felt it was prudent to make an offer on the whole parcel and plan on doing the two separate projects. It's very similar to what we've done in the city of Utica, where we built 144 units of senior housing called Schuyler Commons, and then followed it up with 156 units of multifamily product, Class A multifamily product called Deerfield Place, all in the same parcel as a master plan project. So we saw the need for that housing in the town of Cicero, and that was in 2019. But that's important because it was before we knew anything about White Pines. It was before we knew anything about the discussion of a chip plant. We made our decision to come here based upon the current conditions and the current market and the current need for housing in the town of Cicero. So the chip plant and those other things are a growing need that were not evident when we made the decision to come. And we saw the appropriateness of this parcel in its location, close to retail, close to everything else, is ideal for senior housing and also ideal for multifamily. And we also saw it as a reduction in in zoning intensity, taking it from regional commercial to senior housing and multifamily. In other words, it was a reduction in zoning, not an increase in intensity of use. So that's why we went the PUD route, was because that's what allowed us to go for that zoning change to a reduced impact use. And that is we got the land under contract in January of 2020. And our first meeting with the town supervisor was in July of 2020. When we came and met with the town supervisor, the first thing he told us was, he showed us the Route 11 corridor study, and there was a big graphic that he had in his office that showed a plan for 1,500 units or something close to that on this same parcel where we are at. And he said traffic was going to be the issue, and it made it very clear. And we met the following week with all of the current council members, and we heard the same message. Traffic is going to be an issue. Traffic is our concern. And we took that to heart. And I had said then, if traffic's an issue for you, it's an issue for me. I don't want to build a project where the residents have a problem with traffic. And we committed right up front to doing traffic improvements, to doing everything we could to get DOT to agree to those traffic improvements. We did, the traffic study was the first thing we did. We analyzed 11 intersections in that traffic study. The traffic study is something like 1,600 pages thick. The end result being, and I've heard it many times in the town of Cicero, traffic studies always say no insignificant impact. But what does that mean? Well, this traffic study said no significant impact because it was against what was allowed by right, which was commercial. But more importantly, it said that the improvements we were committing to and we were suggesting, being the traffic light, being timing signal changes, all of those improvements would lead to making Route 11 safer, reducing accidents, and increasing gap timing so that people could make maneuvers easier. And that's the result of that traffic study. So based upon that, we started through with the planning board as the code requires for a recommendation on the zone change to the town board. Over a course of 8 planning board meetings, we went from a proposed 400 units being 220 units of multifamily and 180 units of senior, because of the concerns we heard about traffic density, height, and sewer requirements. In November of last year, we went back to the owner. We purchased an additional 2 acres of property, or got it under contract, and we reduced our unit count by 25%. We reduced our unit count from a requested 400 units to a requested 300 units, 150 multifamily and 150 senior. And we added 2 acres to the project site, which significantly increased the green space on the project, significantly reduced the density. We also agreed to take the senior housing project from a 4-story to a 3-story. The planning board did agree with us to allow 4-story on the multifamily 4-story buildings because we have garage parking under the entire first floor, which is a benefit to all of those residents. In this multifamily, it's proposed that every apartment gets a garage. Every apartment for no additional cost. It's part of the rent, which is a real benefit for this project. So we presented that 300 unit plan to the town board, went through final meetings with the planning board to get to a recommendation for approval with conditions. And that's where we're at today. We're at 150 units in the multifamily, 128, I believe, for a total of 278. We're requesting from the town board the original 300. We reduced the count to. We need those additional units to pay for the project. And we have presented to the town board our opinion of the planning board's recommendations, which you've already received a letter for, and I'm sure we'll be discussing. But the bottom line is that we're here, we need to, and we want to proceed with this project. We want to start this project this year We want to be able to deliver this housing with first residents end of next year. And we're hoping we can work with you to do that. Now, Brian is here to answer any questions or to present any of the details of the project, which you've all had the latest plans. You've all had those stats, so we won't go over those again unless there's specific questions that you have.
How are you, Brian? Does anybody have any questions for them? I have some questions. I know the planning board has the recommendations for the project. They advise that there's no storage for snow. There's not a lot of green space. The density of the project should have been larger. There's I guess, an area for local traffic to come in and out of a neighborhood. In the recommendation for parking, I guess you're using the garage for a parking and one parking space. I think it's 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 for apartments like this. And the biggest one for me is there's no connection to Wegmans. You're going to make the residents in this area go to Walmart, but if they have to come back out, they have to go out on Route 11, 150 feet, and then go back to Wegmans or Home Depot. I'm not okay with that. Okay, I'm all for connecting properties together if we're going to do something like this. That's where I'm at. If anybody else has any questions.
I'll be going door to door in those areas, so.
I mean, really, I think that the correspondence regarding the planning board's conditions pretty definitively sets forth their position, unless that position has been modified since then. I mean, the letter from your attorney is dated August 11th. I assume your position remains as stated in that letter, correct?
It does.
Okay. I mean, that's their position. I mean, we've been talking about this project. We met first like a couple of years ago. I've been in the planning board meetings. I've read the minutes. I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time. I think a lot of my questions have already been answered. And if that's still their position, then, I don't really have anything at this time. Certainly as part of the public hearing, I probably will. I may have some more, but right now I don't. I might share a lot of the same, some of the same concerns the supervisor presented about the cross connections. And frankly, I share some of the same concerns the planning board addressed with their conditions. So I don't have anything else to say at this time.
Anyone else? Anything else from you, gentlemen? No?
No.
Okay. If you want to set a public hearing, we'll set a public hearing for October 12th at 6:30 p.m.
Need a
Is
second.
that a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody wish to vote no or abstain? Passed. We'll see you back here on October 12th.
Thank you.
Number 7, Mr. Bacallo.
Is this a motion or just informational as well?
No, it's information, okay?
Yep, I'll read it.
Well, it looks like a non-binding resolution
Yeah,
supporting it. I mean,
It's just, it's
could you explain this to us before we
Yes.
figure out what it is we're
The
doing?
purpose of this is I would like to include a letter that gives unanimous board support for our New York Forward application. So however, whatever it takes for.
It should
to
be a
get that.
motion then. Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. So support for the New York Forward Grant application for the Hamlet of Brewerton. So move the adoption resolution conveying support for the town's New York Forward Grant application for the Hamlet of Brewerton. The goal is to continue with the revitalization of the Hamlet of Brewerton, capitalizing on the state's generous grant opportunity.
Second.
I'd just like to amend that and the resolution also authorizes the supervisor to execute that letter and sign that letter on behalf of the board. That way we don't all have to come in and sign it. Will you accept Ms. White, would you accept the amendment?
Absolutely.
Mr. Bacallo?
I accept.
Great. So then we'll be voting on it as amended.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain? Passed.
Move it.
Actually, I apologize. Why don't can we go back? I mean, we already passed it, but I just want Kate to give a overview of what this is
I
about.
think that's a good idea for the
Can you
benefit,
give
the
us an
edification
overview?
of the
I
audience.
apologize, everybody. I
I
think I got ahead of
Everybody.
myself today.
It's just an opportunity to apply for grant funding, large amounts of grant funding. So we're in the central New York region. They're going to choose two or three communities, either two for $4.5 million or two getting $2.25 million. And from that, it's a combination of public and private investment. And the public half, we get to structure the grant. So if we structure the public portion without a match, that's up to us if we win it. And from Monday's meeting that we had in Brewerton, I think everybody knows that we all are trying to get the sidewalks going all the way up to Brewerton Elementary and continue that streetscape. That's the big kind of turning point, I think, project for Brewerton. And then there could be some other projects.
Yeah, so just so I'm clear, are all of the grant funds available without a match or only some of them?
It's however we structure it. So if we want to get more out of the grant, we would put matches to it. If we don't, they said typically lots of times the public portion. So if the town is taking on a portion, it may not have a match. We can give it a match.
Is that something that
After?
we determine at the time that it's awarded, or do we have to apply for it a certain way?
I'm in that process right now for the application, but my plan is what I've told the supervisors that we wouldn't put a match on the public portion. So, but on the private portion, we're saying 25%, but I think it really is going to depend, it's a small chance that we'll win it. This is very competitive. But if we do, then we'll take all our projects and then we meet with the local planning committee that people have volunteered for, and everybody prioritizes. The state might have a little bit of input into which projects are selected. But we can't do anything without grant funding. So I think every time it becomes available, we go for it. Otherwise, we can't do anything. So,
Like you said, this is no cost right now to the town.
no.
Perfect.
When will we know, by the way, Kate?
I think they said in the next like 3 or 4 months, they might list the communities that win. And then it goes into this planning period to create the document of what is actually going forward.
One other question. Do you have any idea what the criteria is for approval of this? And my question is a piggyback to that. If you do, would the fact that we've already spent so much time and money on Brewerton make it more likely or less likely that it would be
They
selected?
say more likely. They're trying to get, I think, I'm hoping we're at an advantage because we've already gone through so much of the planning process that for us to choose viable transformative projects, they've already been identified in these 2 previous studies that we really haven't acted greatly on. So we're kind of like right there, ready to go. We just don't have the money to do it. So I think they said it favors, they want to see that we have skin in the game as well.
Okay. I mean, my concern would simply be that the work up there has been great. And, well, we love the lovely, wonderful people of Brewerton, but there are other parts of the town as well that have not seen the level of attention. And so if it would be an advantage to apply for someplace else, then I would suggest.
There's no other place in the town that would qualify for this particular grant. It's
For this,
targeting
okay.
villages and hamlets.
Well, I mean, I don't know is Bridgeport a hamlet?
I don't
believe so.
know.
It's a census designated place. I know that it has a zip code. Okay. All right. Just again, no, if it's more competitive with Brewerton because of what we put in, then it makes sense. Just curious. Thanks.
Thank you, Kate. Number 8.
Move for the adoption of a resolution approving Aqua Project number 4220065, calling for the installation of fire hydrant number 15201 located on the east side of Whiting Road. The project is shown and referred to as map file number 1058. According to the agreement, Aqua will install the hydrant in conjunction with an 8-inch water main extension along Whiting Road. Aqua will install the hydrant at no charge to the Cicero Water District L320 and will then bill the Water District an annual hydrant standard rate, which is currently $216.30 per hydrant per year for 30 years. After 30 years, the district will be billed the lower hydrant maintenance rate, which is currently $74.50 per hydrant per year. Aqua is undertaking this project to continuously improve service to their customers.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Vote no, abstain, passed.
Move the adoption resolution approving engagement letter between the town of Cicero and Baldwin and Sutton and Fortescue LLC for legal representation as needed for the proposed Lakeshore Village project. The board has been provided with a copy of the proposed engagement letter and hereby agrees to the terms of same.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a fairly common matter. There really are only so many law firms in town that handle this kind of work. Conflicts are not uncommon, and I do know the attorneys there, and we'd be working with Fortescue, right, Robert? And they're experienced very experienced municipal attorneys. I've had numerous conversations with them on matters unrelated to Cicero business. We'll be in good hands on that, and it's in everybody's best interest to avoid even potential conflicts. So I wholeheartedly endorse this.
Thanks, John. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
First vote no, or abstain, passed. Hire a full-time information aide at the Parks Department. Move for the adoption of resolution approving the hiring of Jessica Sullier as a full-time information aide, administrative aide, assistant at a starting rate of $18 per hour, effective September 15th, 2022.
Second.
Discussion. You want to speak on behalf of this? We lost Danielle. We lost an employee a few weeks ago.
Yep, we canvassed and did a great search, and we're very thrilled and delighted to have Jessica join our team hopefully tomorrow. Yeah, and she's a local resident, and actually lives right on Lakeshore down the road from our office. So that will be wonderful, and she'll be a nice addition, and I'll introduce her personally after the meeting.
Great. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Accept donation of kayak rack and kayaks. Move the adoption resolution authorizing the acceptance of a newly constructed kayak rack and 2 kayaks to the Parks Department. This was donated from the Cicero Girl Scout Troop 10124 as part of the Silver Award project and will be utilized at William Park.
Second.
Discussion. Would you like to speak on behalf of this, please?
Yeah, if you can check out the star review, and we've also put it on the town's website and the parks website, but it was dropped off this past week. It was a project they worked on over the summer, and it turned out beautifully. It's a kayak / canoe rack to hold 6 boats, and our hope is that next summer we'll rent out some kayaks and add that service at William Park. But this was part of the Girl Scout project. They wanted to get people outside in nature, and they felt that was going to improve mental health coming out of COVID. And this was the project that they chose, and it was a pleasure working with them.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Did the paddles come with it?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain, passed.
Install guide rail at Leroy Road Bridge. Move for the adoption of a resolution authorizing the expenditure of $16,460 to Elderly Inc. to install a guide rail at the newly installed bridge on Leroy Road, budget code DB 511242.
Second.
Discussion. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. They replaced the pipe in the road, correct, Dave? And then we have to replace the guardrail back up. There wasn't any, so we're putting one in. We're installing one. Okay, great. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain, passed.
Adjustment to the original 2022 crew cab purchase. Move for the adoption of a resolution authorizing an additional $7,915 towards the original purchase of a 2022 Chevrolet 3500 crew cab that the dealer was unable to get. The additional expenditure will be used to purchase a 2023 Chevrolet 3500 crew cab. Budget code DB 51302.
Second.
Discussion. Let me ask again, Dave, this is a vehicle they went to purchase last year and they were unable to get from the dealership, correct? So they had to get a 23 instead of a 22. Right. Okay. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain, passed.
Move the adoption of a resolution authorizing the Cicero Highway Department to purchase the Mitchell One Vehicle Management and Repair Program, which will be used by the Cicero Highway Department mechanics. The implementation of this program will allow the town of Cicero to keep a computerized records management system for all town vehicles. The annual cost of the program is $6,756. Budget code DB 51302.
Second.
Discussion.
This is going to allow us to keep better and more efficient maintenance records. Also is going to be part and parcel of us transitioning maintenance and minor repairs of our vehicles to the mechanics of the highway department, which should save us a lot of time and money for our other vehicles. I mean, highway's got 30 vehicles, but Parks has 7, the police have 17. If we can have oil changes, brakes and things like that done at the highway department, it's gonna, like I said, save us time and money. So it's a win for everybody.
You stand correct. I believe there's 59 vehicles at the highway at least. I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
Dave knows. Exactly. Which we can put into the system and maintain and PM them. Perfect. This should have been done a long time ago. I'm excited. Anyone else?
I'll just say that this software was researched. Our team looked at a couple of different options. Mitchell One is a very widely used and manageable program, so I think it's going to serve our department well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to amend the expenditure approved at the August 24th, 2022 board meeting from $17,000 to $48,000 for information technology services that include email and cloud storage for all town employees and town board members. This amount includes the previously approved funding and covers a 3-year agreement for services to be provided. This will also come out of ARPA funds.
Second.
Discussion. Also, you want to speak?
No, I was just gonna say, this is covering the entire duration of our 3-year contract for services. After that runs out, the yearly amount will be budgeted into the appropriate departments.
So yeah, so it'll save us some money for the next 3 years and not have
And
to
it will be
budget.
budgeted out.
Anyone else? Anything else? Discussion? We'll go into discussion items.
We got to vote on it.
Oh, we didn't vote on it. I apologize. All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain? Passed. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself tonight. We'll go to police calls. Police calls are up, I'm being told. Our general reports are up 25%. Our accident reports are up 11%, and our domestic reports are up 19%. As of January 1st to August 31st, calls for service in 2021 were 13,272. And in 2022, they were 13,285. The arrests are up in 21, they're 218, and in 22, they're 286. And domestic reports from 248, they're up to 304. Anybody else want to speak on behalf?
I just piggyback on that and, just to illustrate the benefit of having a local town police department. I'm sure everybody here is aware of Burnett Road and Clay, where this White Pines project is supposed to go, and where a lot of homes have been sold. Actually, pretty much all of them, I think, under the threat of eminent domain. And there's a lot of vacant homes there. People are moving out, people in the process of moving out. There have been several burglaries there because there is no local police department. It's not like the sheriff's can assign one vehicle just to drive up and down and keep an eye on that road. In fact, a friend of my wife's, her parents' home was recently burglarized. They caught the guy and then released him due to bail reform. So maybe he'll break into another house. But anyway, if Clay had a local department, they would know there are a bunch of vacant, partially vacant homes. They would keep an eye on it. Instead, they don't. And this is what happens. So once again, thank you, Chief, for all the work that you and your officers do.
Next is I'll turn this over to Teresa Roth, and I'll be putting some photos up there. This is on behalf of the Riverfront Park project. Teresa wants to speak on behalf of these pictures that I have up here.
Okay, just wanted to give a brief update on some projects that are going on currently or started this summer and are coming to a close. But these pictures are specifically of Riverfront Park. That we're in the final phase of that. And it's been going on for the past month and actually pretty much finished today. The only thing left, we're scheduled to do the walkthrough on Tuesday. And then the only thing that's left to do is part of our in-house portion is to plant some trees, and we're scheduled to do that the last week in September. So it turned out really nice. Go over and check that out. That's at Riverfront over in Brewerton. We also have this summer had a community development grant funding for a project at Gateway Park. And that was to complete a walking path. We had back in 2018 had paved half of it. And this year we finished paving the rest of the loop, did some drainage improvements, That just finished this week. And again, to finish that project up, all that's left is to plant 10 trees, and that's scheduled to happen October 1st. So that project's coming to a close. We also had a grant to purchase trees to replace several of the ash trees that we've taken out, literally hundreds, like 250, 300 ash trees in the last year and a half. So the 5,000 that we got for the trees is really just a small amount, but we ordered 26 trees with that $5,000 and some equipment, and scheduled that. We have one order coming in the last week of September and the second order first week in October, and those are going to be planted between 4 parks. So I'm excited about that. And then just a quick update, the splash pad project. I have drawings here, so if anyone wants to look at it after the meeting, feel free to come check it out. But I actually have the actual design of the splash pad, which is going to be hopefully it's possible that we'll start do a groundbreaking here this fall. But the majority of the work will be done in the spring. The water spray park equipment has been ordered. I was speaking with the reps yesterday to finalize the colors, and they're supposed to be shipped out on November 1st. We're in the final stage of getting the last permit that we need from Aqua to put the meter in. And then I'm also working on putting in the order for the playground equipment. So we've been going back and forth on what pieces of playground equipment, but I'm excited that we're putting in some all-inclusive play features. And that will be coupled with community grant funding next year for the surfacing of the playground. But the splash pad is really, the majority of it is going to be paid with SAM grant funding that we got for $250,000. And our goal is to possibly have that open next summer. So a lot of this is going to happen, possibly some this fall, but the majority of it in the spring.
Teresa, this is all awesome stuff. Quick question, the
Mhm.
trees for the waterfront, question for you and I guess the rest of the board. Have we thought about getting donations for those trees? I know the benches there was some of those were donated, if I recall. I don't know if we thought about getting that too. I mean, I'd be happy to.
We do, you mean like memorial trees and memorial benches? In fact, I've a couple people have approached me in the last year or two. We've put some out at William Park, but these particular trees were, we had to get approval and select from a certain list for the $5,000 grant. So the ones that are going in at Riverfront and Gateway are specifically from
Okay.
that grant. So we didn't have to pay anything for
Okay,
it.
cool. All right.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yep.
Anyone else? The other night, or actually, I'm sorry, I'm not going to skip ahead. I received a call from Kate the other day that their project up in Brewerton is done just about, and they had some issues with striping. The cost of the striping was going to be $2,000. As you can see, they marked them out for us. Bill, Ellie, and I today went out and we striped the parking lot up there. I just want you to know.
Thank you very
I
much for
took
doing
time out
that.
of my
Really
busy
appreciate
schedule
it. It looks
today,
great.
and I went up there and
Thank
I
you.
striped the parking lot and we saved the town $2,000. Now, back 4 or 5 months ago, or 3 months ago, my deputy supervisor and I went out and we did how many parking lots, Mike? We did all the parks parking lots.
It felt like a lot.
One day it was probably 85 degrees out, so we also tried to save the town some money as well. So I just wanted to make note of that.
For full disclosure, I used the fan to get the rocks and dirt off of the road, but in the parking lots, Supervisor Arizgano, he was the real artist and he was the striper. So make sure that was.
We also on our way back today hit the canteen. Friday, we're going to do the parking rides and the park as well. And I want to thank the highway for giving us the paint. That was great. We probably saved quite a few dollars this year on doing that. The next thing I had on here was the Brewerton revitalization. We had a meeting the other night up in Brewerton. I want you to know that I sent a letter to Assemblyman Sturpey, and I have a meeting set up with County Legislator Tim Burtis and Deb Cody this Friday to see if we can get some funding for the project up there. And I also have a call into the New York State DOT to see if they can assist in the sidewalks from Guy Young Road, both sides southbound to Brewerton Road Elementary or Brewerton Elementary. The project that they're supposed to be putting up here on 11 has been delayed till spring of next year. I think they lost their first bidder. So that won't start till next year, but I know they're going to do this and this isn't going to cost the town anything. So I'm not sure why they can't find some funding for the rest of that project, seeing that we're putting some efforts into getting this project finished in Brewerton. So I just want to let you know that we're working hard to see if we get funding for it. The bridge plans are up here. If I know somebody here was looking for the bridge plans, they can be viewed at any time in the clerk's office. If you want to look at them, you're more than welcome to look at them. I guess the state DOT does not want them out right this second. I'm not sure why. You can ask Tracy that later.
But that's the bridge in Brewerton that they're gonna.
That's the
replace.
Brewerton Bridge they're going to replace, and correct. I'd like to ask the board if we can put out an RFP for a garage for the parks and for police garage for storage, cold storage. I'd like to get some feedback on that quick, if we can.
My understanding with the Parks Garage is it would be mostly an unclimate controlled space with a very small portion of it that would be climate controlled. And this would be to replace the facility here, correct?
Correct.
Where would you, this would be located at the highway
So
garage?
this will be put on the the west side of the parking lot where the fuel pumps are, and all their equipment, as you see that it's hanging outside, the trailers and everything will be up there, out of here, out of our way, and not sitting on the side as well, and to give them more room to operate there instead of being in the middle of the parking lot here
So at the highway garage.
at the highway garage.
I'm not opposed to putting out an RFP and seeing what it would cost. I have no idea how to estimate that. So
Okay.
I have no opposition to that.
Anyone else? Tonight's the night we're going to decide on whether the town is going to move forward with brush service next year. We need to figure this out. We have a cost of a new truck that we'll have to buy and maybe a new employee or two. I want to hear from Dave Christian about the land and the opportunity to take the brush over. So this is going to be the time we have to try to figure this out. You got a mic?
Push the
There
button.
you go.
There you go.
You're on.
We have located a town park out in Gateway that portion of it is wooded, but the inner part of it has a clearing already that we would be able to use to stockpile all the brush that we would get if we're going to be doing it. But there would be some work that would need to be done in order for that to happen. So I've been talking with the supervisor that we just need a definitive answer. So if we're going to go forward, that we're going to have to start putting some time and energy and a little bit of money to go out there and prep that area so we're ready to go in the spring. So.
Board comments?
I mean, I thought we were already going to move forward with this. So
Okay, we'll move forward with this, David. You got it.
Moving forward, also, I know that we talked about that to give the same level of service or what we have talked about before, or can we talk specifics later?
We'll talk specifics later, but we would be able to, yield those calls if something isn't picked up, and we have the opportunity to take care of business. Okay, thanks. The ARPA funding that's out here on the screen, I just want to let the public know the ARPA funds and what we've purchased so far and what's left.
maybe I'm missing it. Where does it say what's left?
Pardon me?
Where does it say what's left? Maybe I'm missing it.
Right here at the very bottom. You can't see it.
2.9 million is what's, oh, no, that was 2.4
I'm
million.
sorry,
is
I'm
remaining.
sorry.
Okay, yeah, thanks. That's helpful. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was missing.
No, it's fine. I just,
I want to be upfront and open with everybody so they know what we're putting our money towards. Try to save on budgets and taxpayers and taxes going up all the time. I want to show you, I want to take this down here. I want to show you a video. We did get our new brush cutter. Oh, you rented. This is the, okay, so this is but this is the one we are purchasing. I want to show you one of our gentlemen. Oh, no, I can't play this. Here's what we purchased. I just want to show you that they're out there now clearing some land. Just a little clip that Dave sent me the other day. And I'm sure we wouldn't be able to get back there with some weed whackers, correct? So that's the work to do before we have to do the work, and it saves time, it saves money, and it saves people from getting hurt.
Can this be used on the 81 on and off ramp?
Absolutely.
I hope. The little Ryobi can't take it much longer.
I want to speak about this sign that is at Brewerton on the wall. There's a mooring limit. We've had several complaints up there that boats are staying on the dock all year long. The chief of police wrote a letter for the town, and we'll be issuing those letters tomorrow, correctly? Yeah, correct. Perfect. This is just a warning letter to let them know that they have to remove their boat from there. We're not going to go start giving tickets out. I believe in being fair, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to be ticketing people. We want to be fair with them. The pickleball courts, we're going to work. We've gotten an estimate for the pickleball courts, but that's way out of whack. But anyways, nevertheless, the highway again steps up and says, hey, we can take care of whatever we need to take care of to prep this area and get it ready to go. We'll figure out what those costs are. I just want people to know that we're looking to put pickleball courts up at Plank Road Park. There's a property on Northern Boulevard. I had some residents call me about. This is kind of funny because we brought this up a few months ago and now we're talking about it again. There's a George McGeehan on the corner of Northern Boulevard that has tires galore back there. Well, it's going up for auction. I'm being told by Steve that there's already notice. There's already a notice to the previous owner that it goes along with the property. If they buy it, they have to take care of this, correct?
Correct. The property's been cited for the tires. It has a rubbish complaint against it. Yeah, and they've been notified to clean it up, but unfortunately, Mr. McGeehan is deceased. It's in sort of estate or probate right now. So I did speak with
The county?
however, today, so this property was being considered to be put on for auction. It may, after the information I gave them today, it may not be. They'd rather see any charges that may be incurred go to the current property before it's sold.
So if we go on the property, or not us personally, we hire somebody to take care of the tires that are on there, clean it up, $50,000-$60,000 worth of removal of these tires. Correct me if I'm wrong. It goes on to the taxes and the town gets reimbursed.
That is my understanding, but we're going to confirm that.
We're
before we do
going
that.
to have legal and we're going to find out, because we're not putting up monies to clean somebody's property and not getting reimbursed. I know when you mow somebody's lawn, it goes on their taxes, but that might be a few $100s and not 60,000.
Correct.
Perfect. So we're going to find out and we'll have some news for you back. The last one on my list is the comprehensive plan. I know a comprehensive plan was started last year. We talked about this in early August, that we were going to wait until we found out what the county is going to do with this chip plan up here. And I've still heard nothing. Zero. Nothing about it from anybody. And I'm not sure what's going on with it. I read newspaper articles all the time that this chip plant went to Idaho. This one was going to Texas. I have no idea where if they're coming here or not. Nobody can give us a definitive answer. So I think what we should do is look for a vendor. If not, find one. We already had an RFP, I believe, last year. Look at that. Did we have an RFP last year to do one? I believe so. We look at who that vendor is. You know, the cost would, whatever the cost was. Maybe we put another RFP out to ask, but I think we should start the motion and getting this in place. I just don't know how long are we going to wait for this? We're going to wait another year. I just don't know. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Any other board members want to speak on behalf of that? Nobody else wants to talk about it?
It's something that bears discussing, I would say.
No, I get that. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're discussing this.
Right. Well, I'm not prepared to have a discussion on that right now. So it bears discussion, but I'm not prepared. I saw this list when I got up here. I'm not prepared to discuss it at this time.
Okay, we'll discuss it later then. We'll discuss it at the next meeting. Anyone else?
On the topic of beautification, with the revitalization, and you were talking about that property. The medians in our town, like the Circle Drive, Party Road, I know the answer is not going to be here this evening, but who's supposed to take care of the weeds in those? We have 41 that's disgusting. Their height's taller than me. I'm more than happy to take out some borrow equipment and knock some of those down. We should do what we can to try to make our on and off ramps look a little nicer than what they are, at least. So anything we can do, I'm all for it as a team. It looks bad and it's hard to take care of on your own.
Sort of going along with that, do we have any idea when that mess is going to be picked up on the ramp on 81 South?
Good point.
What is it?
The
It's already been picked up.
when?
Had to be the other day. I was running down 41 down that way. It was gone. They picked it up already.
I'll let you know tomorrow morning.
Okay. If not, I'll buy you lunch.
All right.
We don't have to spray for mosquitoes. They apparently did for us. So Mike, you want to talk about that anymore? Does anybody else have any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to ask the chief, have we had any feedback on how the SPOs are doing in the first couple of weeks of school here? That's good to hear.
I concur. I stopped by the picnic, the back to school picnic at Cicero Elementary, and you just seeing the interaction between the SPOs, the students, and the parents and the teachers was great to see.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Let's go to public input. Anybody like to speak tonight?
There might be no road. I appreciate all you guys helping us with that apartments over there. I really do. Underneath the PUD, it becomes your responsibility. Mr. Haskins' idea about the 1,600-page traffic study, I had to laugh. No impact. Come on, the dump trucks and everything else. I don't know where he's from, but he's not from here. Troy, I guess he told me. Is that where you're from, sir? But you guys need to help us here because that's just a disaster putting them, all those apartments right in that commercial district, adding another street light. It's already a disaster. I mean, the queuing stuff I was talking about in that letter I gave to you, if you're going to stack that many cars, Lincoln can't get out of the street now. I mean, you got a sign there. I mean, please, think about us when you guys pass this or whatever you're going to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up. Is it on green?
Elsa?
There you go. Is
Yes.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Okay.
you.
My name is Elsa Lamana. I'm from Sutton Drive. As you know, we read in the paper about the apartments. And I want to know if in that impact study, 1,600 pages long, are they going to communicate with the road parallel to Route 81? Anybody knows, or do I have to wait until October 12th when there's going to be a public hearing?
Are you referring to a road behind the apartments that runs along the side of 81?
Exactly.
That we propose,
They will be proposed,
that
or
we-
it's already proposed?
that it's not been proposed, but this board here has been looking into. John, you want to speak on behalf? You've been here longer than I have.
I mean, we've had conversations with state and county officials about it. We think it's something that'd be very helpful and increase the developability of that land. There are wetlands there, which does complicate it and make it expensive to do. Not impossible, but expensive and complicated. Thus far, there's been no real progress on that. I think that if the chip factory gets built and some of the infrastructure improvements that they're talking about, the federal money comes in to fund something like that, that might be a possibility. I think it's to everybody's benefit, but right now there's been no official proposal. It's not something we can do at the town level.
Right.
But it is a continuing part of discussions related to the overall development in this area.
So it hasn't been decided?
No,
No,
absolutely
but
not.
To go
Okay.
off of what Counselor Carp said, the supervisor and I, a couple of months ago, did meet with the county executive and brought this up. So we're trying to keep a parallel road there as part of the conversation because with traffic the way it is, that would be incredibly beneficial to everybody to have access to all of the parcels of land back there.
Right, and that will communicate all the different commercial, like Walmart,
Correct.
Wegmans, all of them.
Yeah, you
correct?
could really divert a lot of the commercial traffic off of 11 in there and then have 11 be more of like more through traffic. That would be a possibility. Yeah, that would be how.
In
it would be
other words,
used.
it will help Route 11.
Oh, yeah.
It would help everybody.
It will help. And that's what I want to bring to my neighbor. I don't know. That is, we want to talk about that. So thank you very much.
You're
I see
welcome.
you on the 12th, right? That's
Correct.
going to
Got
be
it.
discussed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Oh, we got, ma'am, you
But
gotta
we'd
come,
like you to
you
be,
have to come up.
the meeting's being live streamed, so it might not be big enough for people to hear you in their homes.
Guy, pick up the mic, please. There you go.
Who's buying the houses?
Name and address.
Mary Spears on Sutton Drive.
Thank you.
Who's buying the houses on Sutton Drive to bring through the water, through waterway, white waters?
Wide waters.
Yes. Somebody's approached their 3 houses on the middle cutoff to buy Bell's house, the Brown house, and the one on Pine Grove Road. They want to build in the back. Do you know anything about that?
I have no idea what you're
There has a
referring to.
man been calling and asking to buy those 3 houses. They want to build a road going in and coming out, but they need those houses.
I did hear about a road. I did not hear specifics about a road going in and out or whose property was being looked at. I have no idea. So
Because Whitewater's on the middle cutoff.
right.
Yeah.
And I know they wanted to put a road between there somewhere. Don't know
The
where.
middle cutoff. And they've approached. And the only one that wants to sell is the guy on Pine Grove Road. He said if they give him 350,000, he'll sell his house. So I didn't know if anybody approached the town.
No.
I've heard the same thing as a
Yeah.
supervisor. I've heard, but I know nothing. I know.
They really wouldn't.
On the property and that, so. With machinery and that, we don't know if they're testing the land or what.
Neither do we.
We've been there 57 years. And
I'm,
we have the woods behind it.
if I knew, I would tell you.
We don't know any more than you do, really.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Come on up, sir. Grab the mic and just give us your name and address, please.
Charlie Perino, Sutton Drive. First of all, I got a 2,500 Dodge Ram crew cab I can sell you, brand new. Don't waste your money on it. Also, money that you guys are spending on all these vehicles, you want to get extra money for that, but then you also want to build a huge facility to put the vehicles in it. I was just confused. I'm just asking. You wanted to do both of those?
I'm not sure what you're.
I don't really
referring to.
understand the question.
You're referring to the two buildings we're proposing to get an RFP for, one for the police and one for the
I don't know what an
parks.
RFP is. I'm sorry.
So we're looking to get someone to give us a bid on putting a new building up
Right,
for the
okay.
police department. The
Okay.
police department's looking for cold storage up there.
Yeah.
Okay, we took all their storage that was over here and we made them move all of their files and evidence out of here to make it more efficient to be over there, but there's no room over there for their trailers, their vehicles, and we don't want to leave them outside. And if
Right.
we can store them inside to save the life on them, that's what our goal is.
Okay. Also, I'm a truck driver. I deliver beer up and down Route 11. Like everybody else said, it's a nightmare for normal cars. It's a nightmare for us too. So with this, what the apartments that they're building, she asked they wanted to put in a little road, right?
Mhm.
So there's more traffic. Is that going to be just for the neighborhood?
That's road between.
Where does it begin
Yes,
and end?
that's just for Lincoln Ave. That's a proposed road, I'm gonna believe by,
So Lincoln Ave is going to continue and then go down.
no, Lincoln Ave will cut through and come out and they have an option. If I'm not mistaken, the road will come out to where Lincoln Ave is. That's not gonna be removed. There's gonna be a cut through so the residents there can come out of that into that out of their neighborhood onto the road to a road where there's a light so they can get out where there's a light to go left or right.
I like lights. Okay. And when they come to you with this project, do you say, hey, why did you choose this plot of land? Can't you choose another one?
We don't have any say.
They just see this plot of land and they're like, we want this plot, and that's what it is.
If you want to build on a piece of land, if the land's available to build on, there's certain circumstances and regulations that you have to go through, whether it's the planning board to propose your project, that's how that works.
Okay. So that they already buy the land.
They did not buy the land. It's on lease to them.
Okay.
And they're proposing to put this project there.
Right.
And at the next meeting, we'll be discussing this more,
Right.
the 12th.
Okay. I'll plan.
Pardon me?
Okay.
Plan.
All right.
Yep.
Not,
Thanks.
not the next meeting. Next meeting's the
I'm sorry.
28th. 2 meetings from now.
I think I said
12th.
October 12th.
Two
right?
meetings.
October 12th. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And you guys know nothing about a road cutting through our neighborhood.
I know nothing about it.
No.
It's not in the plans.
Not in my plans.
All right. Well, then it doesn't affect me. Yet.
Thank
All
you.
right. It will though.
Anyone else? Come on up, sir.
Hello,
Yep, your name and address.
Ryan Sidden, Sutton Drive. I'm just gonna go on with what everyone else said. Point number 6 or item number 6. It's already congested. I bought my house, my first house, 4 years ago, 2018, before the Starbucks, before the Chick-fil-A. The other day I went to Home Depot to pick up some lumber. Took me 5 minutes to take a right off Hogan Drive, right? Used to be able to go there in 35 seconds. That's just one point. It's already congested. We don't want any more traffic. The first individual who spoke during the comments, the children, why can't we have these jobs or companies, right? I think they'd really be saying, why don't we have more land to play on? Why do I have to go outside? Why do I have to look at all this traffic? Why can't I ride my bike anywhere? It's a safety issue. Mr. Supervisor, you brought up the crime. You're adding more people, more houses. Crime's going to go up, right? That it's there's a time and a place for everything. The time with the chip manufacturer or any other manufacturer, yeah, you're going to need houses, but I really don't think that plot of land's the place. It can go elsewhere.
Thank you. Anyone else? With that being said, we'll make a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll have the 2 new hires if they want to stick around and we want to meet them. The board would love to meet you and we'll get some photos.